the Honda Civic Type R has arrived in Oz to try and nab the crown as king of the reasonably priced fun cars. But first, we see if the front drive Nurburgring lap record holder's hotness translates to local roads and track. I approached my long-awaited first drive of the 2017 Honda Civic Type R, wondering how it could possibly be the quickest and fastest front driver money can buy. And then I came away from the Australian launch of acclaimed Nurburgring lap time smasher pondering how it possibly couldn't. It's moments after an intense, tire-hauling, brake-punishing session at Tasmania's Baskerville Raceway, preceded by a spirited 300-odd K punt around the Apple Isle's finest public hot mix. Honda Australia's Neil McDonald, clipboard in hand, bails me up. "What's your favorite and least favorite aspects of the Type R?" he asks, pen poised. I'm asking all of the journos here. It's good for Honda. They want to know. Warts and all. Easy. For me, the best part about the Civic Type R is that, holistically, the entire package feels thoroughly honed, as well honed as an effective point-to-point driver's tool that the front-driven Civic hatchback format allows. The least impressive aspect is the gearshift placement and quality. It's good, but lacks the tight gadding and rifle bolt precision of classic Hondas such as the DC2 Integra Type R and S2000, and once I've adjusted the seat forward for up close circuit work, the shifter's positioned a little too rearward in the center console. The nutshell, then, is broad-reaching positivity and, admittedly, a big call, countered by quibbles in a relatively small detail. And it's the why, how and where of that convincingly well-crafted execution that deserve the bulk of the narrative below. The Civic Type R is more impressive than I'd anticipated. And a quick survey of other journos at its local launch suggested I'm not alone. I've joked as long and loudly as anyone that a replacement for the last available 4th-gen Civic Type R, Australia skipped the 5th-gener, would never see the cold, hard neon light inside a local Honda dealership. But, under the warm spring sunshine in Tassie, I quick realized the curse of the wait has been a blessing. There's not been idle hands in the car's long drawn-out development. But here it finally is. And, as seems the case with Japanese performance figureheads of the past couple of decades, those responsible are keen to demonstrate their efforts in the final product, every gram, millimeter and degree committed, in a long-winded manner and lots of graphs. At the Civic Type R launch, Providence to Prosperity is detailed by way of a 304-page, individually numbered, hardcover book as a gift to those present. But it's how those details all come together, rather than the actual details themselves, I'm most keen to explore. Back at our first drive at its international launch in Germany, we scored it an 8 out of 10 through a broad view as a $50,990 MRLP performance pitch. While it'll surely have its day to compete against all POV Ford Focus RS, Subaru WRX STI and Volkswagen Golf are rivals for king of reasonably priced fun cars accolades, today I'm keen to measure how it performs as a mediator between the driver and hot mix below, across road track venues where Aussie punters might expect it to shine. Crawling out of Hobart's morning peak hour, it's friendly and extremely drivable. Comfort mode tempers the adaptively damped ride and dulls the throttle take-up nicely in the bumper-to-bumper crawl. Having bookended my Type R experience with Subaru's Levorg STI Sport and Toyota's 86 Limited Edition just after, I can tell you the Honda is not simply more comfortable, tractable and easier to commute in that its Japanese compatriots, it also has more hardcore and purposeful vibe cruising around the burbs. Good early signs, then. Though it defaults to sport mode at startup, its comfort mode doesn't leave you shortchanged for most normal driving. As we peel off onto Tassie's byways, the softest of 3 drive modes plus R being the most visceral, merely takes some of the tangible edge off what's clearly firm, ready for business character. Tire noise from the 245mm Continental Sport Contact 6 rubber, its spec bespoke to Type R, is noticeable on hot mix, downright rowdy on coarse chip, but perfectly acceptable for a device conspicuously dripping with land missile mojo, taste notwithstanding. Subjective tastes, eye of the beholder, etc. This new, aggressive exterior styling should be familiar enough by now to anyone with passing interested in the Type R who will undoubtedly form their own, possibly polarized, opinion. What I will say is it looks more squat and aggressive in the flesh than it does on screen in pictures, that opting for black paint, one of 5 colors available, tames its fussy fada down the most effectively. Incidentally, 3 out of 4 of the 350 examples pre-sold prior to launch are white, though the Battleship Gray Sonic Gray, officially is my personal fave. Its styling really was the butt of many jokes amongst the scribes at its launch. Do they make one for adults? Quipped one scribe. Styled by 12-year-olds on a red cordial bender, suggested another. Uncharitable, yes, but no harm intended. Besides, the booing transformer look has become more a Japanese high-performance trend rather than exclusively a Honda one. Form as functionality, then. The bonnet and guard vents keep under-bonnet temperatures at bay, that third exhaust outlet becomes an inlet at light throttle to eliminate booming, and that rear wing creates downforce above 100 km/h. Back on the German autobahns, and the Type R remained rock solid at an indicated 261 km/h. Today, across Tassie back roads, the velocities are tamer, yet the composure at whatever clip we brave, is unwavering. Everything from the bump control and compliance of the suspension to grip of the tires, from the electronic rev matching up and down gear changes to the linear nature of the turbocharged 2.0-liter engine, conspires together to promote sheer pace in an engaging yet near idiot-proof manner. It's not the size of the numbers. 228 kilowatts, not 235 kilowatts as we'd previous surmised, and 400 Nm that makes this engine effective and friendly, but the linearity achieved by blending newfound turbocharging with old-school VTEC valve control. While it doesn't quite feel terribly torquey, it's a deception of the engine tune. There's no low RPM lethargy or top-end breathlessness, and no torque peaks or troughs in delivery, as the needle swings between 2500 RPMs, where peak torque arrives, and through to the 6500 RPMs red line. The upshot is that once you throw Type R through a corner, the engine seems to never get caught off boil as so many small capacity turbos might. There's no need to chase the engine's sweet spot. And, with sport engaged, the rev matching function not only facilitates rapid-fire gear changes from the conventional, close-ratio 6-speed manual, but leaves the driver to focus more on the precision braking demanded by the frankly hellacious corner speed the Type R manages to carry through an apex, without the frivolity using the old heel and toe technique. The front end has so much grip and accuracy that it takes some acclimatization as to how deep and hard you can push into a corner. So, naturally, there's more than a little alarm once you discover a decent bump in the middle of curve you've committed serious red mist to. But the wheel control is such that even across oh crap sized dips and imperfections, the Type R refuses to budge off its line. Balancing such compliance, with licorice strip 245/30ths rubber mounted on 20-inch rims, no less, with this much sheer road-holding tenacity takes rare talent, even for performance heroes twice the Honda's asking price. The rubber does scrabble a bit if you launch hard from a standstill, but the helical type LSD tames the wheel spin quickly. And while the LSD works well in a straight line, it's at its most impressive exiting a corner under full noise and on the move, providing unflappable drive. Torque steer, bar the occasional faint nudge at the steering wheel, is nigh on non-existent. Rear-end grip isn't merely assertive, it's absolutely riveted to the blacktop. And my gut feel, without a rival present with which to compare, is that the Type R doesn't dance and shimmy in response to throttle changes in the way, say, a Focus RS or WRX STI might through the same corner and the same speed. On road, at speeds that won't risk your license, the Honda is benign. Perhaps a little too much so for some driver tastes. But what it does do, it trades playfulness for pace, and the kind of heady pace that'll plaster a stupid grin across your mug while suggesting, in the same moment, that there is much more pace left in reserve should you find a more suitable off-street venue on which to sample it. Such a dynamic character leans heavily on the capabilities of the steering and braking systems, and both are impressively well sorted. It's a variable steering rack, a little slower off-center to remove some dirtiness and nervousness around the straight-ahead position, and the feel balances linearity, weight and lateral load up nicely. Similarly,